Hey, how was your weekend? Good? Great. Small talk over. Let's talk about Epstein. Okay.
Welcome to MsMojo, and today we're separating viral rumor from verifiable reality, breaking down what the Epstein files do show, and what they very clearly do not.
So look, it's not about President Trump, it's about a ton of people.
The Epstein is still alive conspiracy refuses to die.
Frenzy and fallout surrounding the Epstein files continues. Fake photos of Epstein going viral this weekend, fueling conspiracy theories that he is alive and hiding out in Israel. What's going on?
Despite years of official findings, the claim that Jeffrey Epstein faked his death resurfaces every time new documents are released. The rumor typically points to alleged inconsistencies in guard behavior, malfunctioning cameras, or missing footage. What's often left out is that none of the official investigations into Epstein's death concluded he survived.
This weekend, new fake photos went viral, adding fuel to the fire with these conspiracy theories that he's very much alive and spotted on the streets of Israel. Now, these are the images that circulated. Users online claimed that Israel faked his death and that Epstein was seen walking the streets of Tel Aviv.
The Department of Justice Inspector General report identified severe institutional failures and negligence in custody procedures, but it didn't present evidence contradicting the medical examiner's determination of death. Importantly, no subsequent court filing, investigative review, or forensic analysis has reversed that finding. The rumor endures because it offers emotional resolution, not because it's supported by facts.
Now, cropping, like we saw done with this photo online, is a technique that's often used to share falsehoods or spread fake news because it enables users to crop or remove the AI logo or watermark involved. I also want to mention here that these street signs in Hebrew do not actually mean anything. They don't translate to anything useful. And again, this is another consistent AI giveaway.
The viral myth of Epstein's secret gaming life.
Maybe Jeffrey Epstein is still alive. In the Epstein files, there's a receipt from YouTube where his username is Littlest Jeff 1. Hello, Littlest Jeff 1. Wait, Littlest Jeff 1? There was a charge in May 2019, but he died in August. Wait, Chapter 5, Season 1? Wait, that was recent.
One of the most surreal rumors to emerge claimed Epstein was secretly active online through a gaming account, most famously tied to Fortnite. Screenshots circulated rapidly, with users arguing that account timing or usernames hinted at posthumous activity. However, the claim collapsed once examined by journalists and the platform itself.
Now, for whatever reason, the to and the from are blocked out. We don't know who sent this. I assume it's to Jeffrey Epstein, or maybe it's him sending this out. Again, we don't know. But regardless, there was apparently a charge on somebody's account.
Epic Games confirmed the account in question wasn't connected to Epstein and that the rumor was a hoax. Reporting emphasized that usernames and coincidental activity patterns are common in large online ecosystems and don't imply identity. Crucially, none of the released Epstein emails or documents authenticate any connection to gaming platforms or online avatars.
It could be a troll, but how could it be a troll if they did it so far in advance? The account isn't brand new. It was discovered. My guy faked his death and immediately started playing Fortnite. Fortnite Chapter 1, Season 10 ran from August 1st to October 2019. Crazy. Get the screenshot of him playing Season 6 before it's too late.
The bizarre celebrity wedding that never happened. This rumor alleged that celebrities held weddings on Epstein's private island, with Tony Hawk among those falsely implicated. Hawk directly addressed the claim, explaining that his wedding took place in Fiji, not on Epstein's property, and that the rumor stemmed from name confusion and online amplification. Journalists corroborated this through dates, locations, and publicly available photographs. Importantly, no authenticated document from the Epstein files asserts that such a wedding occurred. The rumor illustrates how vague references, when stripped of context, can mutate into false narratives. Once primary facts were checked, the story completely unraveled. Why being named in the files isn't proof of anything.
Yeah, that's right, Vlad. I mean, with Elon Musk, he said that he refused to go to the island. And then in these new files, it came out, I think it was an email that said, what day or night will be the wildest party on your island? To Jeffrey Epstein. Howard Lutnick apparently went there with his family.
Perhaps the most widespread misconception is the belief that appearing in the Epstein files automatically signals wrongdoing. Legal experts and journalists have repeatedly emphasized that this is incorrect. The released materials include emails, contact lists, travel references, and third-party mentions. Names appear for logistical, social, and professional reasons, many unrelated to criminal behavior.
The files also include 5,300 documents that reference Donald Trump, including unverified claims against him, news articles, as well as emails in which he is name-checked. To be very clear, Trump has not been accused of anything illegal, and he denies any wrongdoing related to Jeffrey Epstein.
Courts don't treat inclusion in a document dump as evidence of guilt, and neither should the public. The files provide context, not conclusions. Conflating mention with misconduct undermines due process and creates false narratives that harm innocent individuals. This distinction is essential to understanding what the documents actually represent.
Those photographs of Prince Andrew, where he says he doesn't remember anything about Virginia Giuffre. Well, will this jog your memory? Here's another photographic evidence that we're showing right now. You know, do you still want to stand by the idea that you don't remember what happened or you don't recall that you were ever there?
The darkest claim pulled from a single redacted tip.
The newly released documents show early police reports and an ignored FBI tip, raising serious questions about why Jeffrey Epstein wasn't stopped years ago.
One of the most disturbing rumors involved an alleged infant death, inferred by some online commentators from a heavily redacted tip referenced in secondary summaries. Reputable coverage describes this as an unverified tip that didn't lead to charges or corroboration. Law enforcement agencies routinely receive tips in high-profile cases, many of which prove unreliable or unverifiable.
She was born, I heard her cries, the diary reads. I saw this tiny head and body in between the doctor's hands. Ghislaine said she was beautiful. Where is she?
The presence of a redacted reference does not elevate a claim to fact. No court filing, indictment, or investigative summary confirms this allegation. The rumor demonstrates how redactions, meant to protect privacy or sensitive information, can be gravely misinterpreted.
Believe what you will. Draw your own conclusions about the veracity of this, about the accuracy of this, about the reasonableness of this occurrence, but I'm not ruling it out.
The rumored royal scandal with no public evidence.
This was supposed to be a mundane public appearance for the king, but the revelations in the Epstein files mean that the most senior member of the firm is now being asked one question.
Charles, how long have you known about Andrew and Epstein?
In the days following the January 2026 document release, online speculation once again turned toward royalty, with social media users claiming that newly surfaced emails secretly implicated additional members of a royal family beyond what was already known. The problem is that no authenticated document released by the U.S. Department of Justice actually makes such an allegation.
King Charles says he's, quote, ready to support the police as they look into claims that his brother shared confidential material with the convicted sex offender back when Andrew was a trade envoy.
Journalistic reviews of the material, including contemporaneous coverage by major outlets, found no new correspondence, travel records, or witness testimony introducing fresh claims involving royals. What does exist are long public references that have been litigated, reported on, and contextualized for years. The new files did not expand that record.
A Kensington Palace spokesperson said that Prince William and Princess Catherine were deeply concerned by the ongoing revelations and that their thoughts are firmly with the victims. But their statement did not mention Jeffrey Epstein by name, nor Prince William's uncle, a man facing several allegations.
The misread email that sparked a political firestorm.
Well, lots of folks pointed out that Bubba is a nickname for former President Bill Clinton. Okay, 1 second. Hold on. Ready? Nope. Not enough.
One of the most widely shared claims centered on a 2009 email from Mark Epstein, Jeffrey Epstein's younger brother. In the email, Mark Epstein relayed secondhand remarks about then private citizen Donald Trump, including a vague anecdote referencing a conversation and an individual nicknamed Bubba. Online discourse quickly reframed the email as a first-hand accusation or verified account. That framing was incorrect. The email was informal, speculative, and explicitly secondhand. Importantly, it was never treated as evidence by investigators, nor was it accompanied by corroborating testimony. Journalists reviewing the email emphasized that it reflected Epstein's claims, not verified fact.
Mark Epstein released a statement saying this email was, quote, part of a humorous private exchange between two brothers, and any attempt to conflate that reference with President Clinton misrepresents both the purpose and the tone of the original correspondence. Boo! Boo, Mark! Let us have a silly one.
The myth of hidden charges buried in the files.
And this morning, no new charges are expected following the latest release of the Epstein files by the Justice Department. This includes 3,000 photos and other documents tied to the late sex offender. Several billionaires' names appear in this latest batch, along with Britain's former Prince Andrew.
A persistent claim online suggested that the Epstein files contained previously undisclosed criminal charges that prosecutors ignored or suppressed. This misunderstands both the nature of the release and the criminal justice process. The January 2026 disclosure consisted of emails, attachments, logs, scanned documents, and audiovisual material produced in response to court orders and transparency requests. It wasn't an indictment, charging document, or prosecutorial filing. Legal analysts were quick to note that criminal charges must be formally filed in court, not inferred from document dumps. Treating raw documents as if they contain hidden prosecutions collapses the distinction between investigation and adjudication.
There have been hundreds of calls made to the FBI where allegations are made by either anonymous individuals or people who are very quickly determined to not be credible, whether it's the nature of what they're saying or the fact they won't provide any information or corroboration. And that's part of the Epstein files.
The belief that the public has only seen a fraction of the evidence.
I mean, we reviewed over 6 million pieces of paper, thousands of videos, tens of thousands of images, and which is what the statute required us to do. You know, it's interesting. Leadership on the Hill, Congressman Massey, Senator Schumer, are quick to complain. There is no way they have spent any time looking at the materials we produce, because I know the materials we produce them on Friday.
This rumor is rooted in a partial truth. It is accurate that not all Epstein-related investigative material is public. On February 3, 2026, the Justice Department confirmed that members of Congress were permitted to review unredacted files in secure facilities, a standard practice in sensitive cases. Online speculation, however, quickly escalated into claims of a vast, separate archive containing explosive revelations deliberately withheld from the public. No reporting supports that leap.
We need to separate those two ideas, the fact that there's the Epstein files and whether there's anybody there that we can go after, and the work that we are doing every day, which is extraordinary, and we will continue to do that.
Journalists clarified that unredacted access doesn't imply the existence of a secret trove. Instead, it reflects legal constraints around privacy, evidentiary integrity, and ongoing civil litigation. What remains unseen is governed by process, not proof suppression. The distinction matters because transparency limits are being misread as confirmation of conspiracy.
We have nothing to hide. We have nothing to hide. We never did. And our doors are open if they want to come and review any of the materials that we produce.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications.
The theory that Epstein wasn't acting alone or randomly.
Growing suspicions of a Russian connection. Epstein had apparently limitless supplies of money. Where did it come from? He procured many young Russian girls. Why was that so easy for him? The files released show more than 1,000 documents which referred to Vladimir Putin.
The most enduring theory argues that Jeffrey Epstein wasn't merely an isolated offender, but part of a larger coordinated system. The files do show extensive networks, financial institutions, private travel arrangements, political donors, academics, and social elites. What they don't establish is a centralized command structure directing Epstein's actions.
Ari Ben-Menash has never presented any hard evidence that Robert Maxwell, Ghislaine Maxwell, or Jeffrey Epstein are spies. Meanwhile, Alex Acosta steadfastly denies ever being told that Epstein belongs to intelligence. The rest of the evidence is very circumstantial. Epstein working with someone's father, or an ex-Israeli prime minister flying on Epstein's plane.
Investigative findings consistently point to money, access, and institutional negligence as enabling factors rather than orchestration. The Department of Justice Inspector General's reporting, while focused on custody failures, reinforces this pattern of systemic breakdown rather than conspiracy. The appeal of this theory lies in its narrative clarity. A single villain feels insufficient to explain the scale of failure, but scale alone doesn't equal coordination. The documents show connections, not control.
The FBI says that he was Putin's wealth manager. Epstein filed all of his messages. He filmed and taped powerful Western leaders in deeply compromising situations. Why? Doesn't it make you wonder at least about the possibility of a KGB operation big enough to ensnare former presidents and prime ministers and the leaders of some of the world's most powerful companies?
Are there any Epstein rumors we missed? Be sure to let us know in the comments.